accidentally shaved my beard off. Yeah. It's one of those kind of days.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.
Hey friends, guess what? It's Mike. This is Ego and Vice. This is episode 18, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the beard story. It's a sad one. Didn't mean to. Trimmed a little too much on one side, then the other. And then before I know it, I was just like, now I have to get rid of this and start over because I fucked it up. But I don't want to talk about it. It's still pretty fresh. So I'm a little upset about it. Anyway. This is going to be part 2, episode 18, is going to be part 2 of my interview with Ken Ketchum. Episode 16, we started the interview. That night we had a really great talk. Went a little late in the night, so I always try to break these things up into 2 episodes because anything past an hour is pushing it already. So I figure, if you listen to the first one, part 1, give a few days break and then jump on the second one and hear the rest of the story. So I'm excited to play it, and I know you're excited to hear it. Ken's a really interesting guy. He's done a ton of stuff. He's been around the Ottawa music community for ever, from Toronto to BC to Ottawa, and he just keeps going. And yeah, check out this part of the interview, and we'll wrap it up that way. What else is going on with me before I start the interview, part 2 of the interview? The beard thing, covered that. Well, I bought some records. I ordered In Desolation from Anxious and Angry with a band called Off With Their Heads. Big fan, as you know, if you listen to the podcast. And I also bought a record self-titled from a band called Red City Radio out of Oklahoma. Fucking rad band. I love that band. They used to have 2 singers. Now they just have the 1 singer. So I'm kind of partial to the newer stuff because I really like the way the new guy writes songs and sings. The old stuff was a little bit more, I don't want to say emo, because that's probably not the right term for it. It was just a little less good. That's who the fuck am I to say? It's just what I'm listening. It's my opinion. So, yeah. So I bought a couple of records, and I accidentally shaved my beard off. That's it. That's all that's fucking going on in my life. Oh, and I was actually going to air this part of the episode after the Lemmy Revisited show. But as luck would have it, I'm going to air it beforehand. So tonight at the House of Targ, it is the Lemmy Revisited tribute show to the one, the only Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. And Goat is playing 3 songs. Now, we were going to play more, but Mike, the drummer of Goat, completely fucking blew his back out, like blew it up, blew it to pieces to the point where he was laying on the floor. And it took him like 5 minutes literally just to stand to his feet. At first we weren't sure if we were gonna make it. Hey, the night is young. We haven't played the show yet. I'll let you guys know. But I gave him a call today, and he's gonna fucking tough it out. He's gonna be a trooper, and we're gonna get her done. So we're only gonna play like 3 songs. The guys are gonna come over. Members of my band are gonna be over here in a couple hours, and we're just gonna run through the songs a little bit. Very light-hearted jam, so we can give Mike. If he's going to blow his back out, do it playing a Motorhead song on stage in front of in front of a full house. Ain't that the way to go? Anyway, so yeah, that's tonight at the House of Targ, the Lemmy Revisited show. Lots of good bands. I think there's like 10 bands playing, local bands, couple bands from out of town, all playing. the fucking fantastic songs from the life of Mr. Lemmy from Motorhead, from Hepcat, from Hawkwind, and everything else he's done. So come check that out. Okay, let's start this interview. But before I do, I'm going to play a song from a local band, a newer local band in town made up of some veteran players. This band is called Wirecuffs. This band has Brendan from Slim and Popular. He's the lead vocalist in this band. I don't know a ton about it. I just talked to him at the House of Tar because we played with Wirecuffs last Saturday at the Gutter Demon show. He said that he's still in Slim and Popular, and he's also in Wirecuffs, and he's juggling both bands. And they recorded this demo themselves, or this EP themselves. You can find it at wirecuffs.bandcamp.com. It's rad. And side note, Slim and Popular is playing the Lemmy Revisited show tonight at the House of Targ. So come say hi. It's going to be fucking rad. You guys will probably hear this after this all happens, but whatever. It's the way she goes. Right after this song, we're going to get back into part 2 of my interview with local artist Mr. Ken Ketchum. But until then, this is a song from a band called Wirecuffs off their new EP called Gutter Demo. This is a song called Dead Zone. So 4-stroke. We should continue on with that.
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, I guess the last, the end where I was talking before is that Chris, the lead guitar player of Moral Hazard, had kind of come back, and he was practicing with us and sort of playing about half of our sets with us, and then it's really interesting because everyone else in the band, and even some people outside of the band, there was this like really concerted diplomatic effort where everyone in different ways kind of came to me and said something along the lines of, Chris is a really good guitar player, and you're a really good front man. And so I got the message, and it was like, okay, enough with this, like, half and half shows of like, Chris playing, me playing, and then Chris coming on. So, So we went like, okay, we're going straight up. It's going to be a 5-piece, and I'm just like hands-free vocalist, and Chris is going to play.
So 4-stroke was actually born as 4-stroke at this point.
It was that's kind of the thing is that when we came up with the name 4-stroke, at that point, it was a 4-piece, and so that was part of the. I mean, I've never actually been in a band that I've been like super crazy about the name, except for actually Cultural Treason, one of my current bands. But and again with Four Stroke, the name, like it wasn't really that important when we came up with it, because like this was just supposed to be a side project on Moral Hazard.
Sure.
But anyhow, insofar as it had any meaning, part of it was that there was four of us, and then it turned out there was five. But no, it was a really fun band to be in, and we played like we did a lot in Ottawa again, like had some really wicked shows. Opened up for DOA, opened up for Vancouver Subhumans, which is like one of my two all-time top favorite bands. Opened up for UK Subhumans, which, like, if I could go back in time and talk to 16-year-old me, he would have come in his shorts. Played with Vibrators, played with Kvelertak, played with like we just got so many awesome shows with that band. Agent Orange. It's just, it was a really fun time, and Armed and Hammered, bunch of fucking goofs again, Dayglow Abortions. We got tons of great shows.
Can I ask you one question though? What was with the mask?
So the first time I wore the mask is just after the Pussy Riot arrests in Russia. And we were going to be playing a show at Mavericks that night. And so I was like, you know what, I just want to wear a face mask in solidarity. So I went into, I forget that, like, Rivers. What's the name of that kind of outdoor store in the market?
Rivers?
Anyhow, there's this outdoor store in the market, and I went in there and I was like, yeah, I'm looking for a face mask. And they're like, what kind of mask? And they're showing me like some different things. And I'm like, no, like the kind I'd use to rob a bank with. And after some things, like, maybe that's not the best way to characterize it.
A little red flag, eh?
Yeah. But anyhow, they sold me something. I didn't get arrested on my way out, and I wore that one at the show, and I just I found that I really enjoyed doing the show in the mask, and it seemed to enhance the response and reaction from the crowd. So it kind of became a thing that I do, not every show, and I mean, even the shows that I do it, I wouldn't do the whole show masked. I'd take it off at one point because it gets sweaty in there, and at one point you get tired of running into walls and pillars and bandmates and things like that. But
sure.
It was just like this extra thing, and I'd been doing it for a while before I learned that, there was this band called Masked Intruder where all of them were, and it's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I mean, nothing's original. We all do it our thing.
It's all been done, sir. It's all been done. Yeah, it was cool though. It was cool. So Four Stroke kept going, but guess.
Well, I mean, so over time, because we had once Chris came back in, we had a stable lineup for a while, and then at one point Mike Jones moved out west, so we replaced him with this guy Josh, really great guitar player, really good guy. Then at one point he had to move on, so at the sort of position of second guitar player kind of became our equivalent of Spinal Tap's drummer.
He just kept blowing up.
Yeah. Then at one point, Steve, our bass player, had to quit, so we replaced him actually with Mike Trash, the singer guitar player from the Sewer Rats. I don't know if you remember them.
Not so much, no.
But so he came in, and that was awesome. And then in 2013, Mike, who was the bass player at the time, and also John, who'd been drumming with us since 2004, they both kind of reached the point where they had to quit. So I talked with Chris, because like Chris at that point had been my longest running collaborator in this, and it's like, okay, are we gonna keep this going or not? And we're like, yeah, let's see if we can. So we actually we got up to the very last show that we were playing with that lineup. And then at that show, we ran into an old friend of ours, Vic, who actually used to be in Black Triangle which our Moral Hazard singer Steve Hopkins had been in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, Vic, you want to play bass? He's like, yeah, I want to play bass. So I was like, okay, we got the bass player. And then we met this other guy called Brad, and he actually, because I was announcing from the stage, like, we need a drummer. And he went up to John, and he's like, I love your drumming style. And John's like, you need to talk to these guys because you're a drummer, because only a drummer would say that. So suddenly we had our new lineup. And so we played with that lineup for a couple of years, and we recorded an album that didn't get released.
What? How come? What's happening?
So what happened with that one is, as you know, there's been a lot of negative situations in music scenes and other places about, basically, without being too glib, men behaving badly.
Okay.
And basically, a couple years ago, we learned that there were some allegations that Brad, the drummer, had been, I'm not going to pussyfoot around it, like he'd basically been blackmailing women for sex. And so there were there was one set of information that was made public on Facebook. Also, someone else reached out to me through an intermediary on social media and gave me some more information. And so I kind of convened a meeting with the rest of the band, and I said, like, look, here's this information that's out publicly. Here's what I can say about some more information that I've been given privately. There's 3 choices in front of us. We carry on as is. We find a new drummer, or we basically sort of go on hiatus. Mm-hmm. I am not willing to go with option 1. I'm not willing to carry on as is, because I feel strongly that these allegations are true, and I'm not comfortable in carrying on with this. So at that point, we basically said, all right, we're gonna put it on hiatus. And then sort of a little while after that, I had a conversation with Chris, because he and I were like, the 2 basically constant members of the band since 2006. And I think we both just sort of, with the amount of effort that it had taken to replace people as people became unavailable and staff up, and then just like the dispiritingness of learning that someone that you'd trusted and like brought into your group had done this, and even, as we learned later, had sort of used his position in the band to take advantage of people in that way. It sucked the fun out of it, and really neither of us really had the drive to carry it forward anymore. Like it basically poisoned it for us,
which is unbelievably fair, and which is so like relevant and poignant to like what's been going on this day and age, in I guess entertainment or the media or anything. I had Sarah Gott on the show a couple weeks ago, and she had a similar incident with someone in a band that she was with. We talked about it openly, so there's no reason why I can't say, but it was in the band called the Brat Attack.
Yep.
And one of the members in that was accused, or I guess basically accused of doing these things towards women and whatnot. And that band broke up too. Just, like it must be an awful thing, like you just described, where it's just like you spend time with this person, you're friends with this person, and then these allegations come out, and then you, like, where are you at that moment in your brain? It's just like, what?
Yeah.
And how do you continue on? You do have to make a choice where it's just like, I can defend this person, I can just carry on like nothing's happening, or I can follow what I believe in it, or how I feel, and from my take on the whole situation, and you make that decision, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think for myself, like what made it, the part that made it more difficult is that there was, there's a lack of certainty. I mean, it's one thing if someone sort of stands up and says, yes, I have done these things, then that's easy. What made it easier for me is that as well as what was out in public, there was other information that was given to me through a different channel that made me able to say, okay, I have enough information that I know what I can't do, and I can't force other people to make decisions, but at the same time, I know what I'm not going to do. In subsequently, like there have been other discussions online where where evidence has been brought to light, and he did actually admit to some of the things. So in that sense, I was, I feel kind of vindicated, and definitely that I made the right decision. I mean, the other thing for me is, like, I have a 10-year-old daughter, and so when I look at, and I mean, I haven't had a conversation about this type of thing with coworkers today, and sort of like that's the lens that I look at these things with, and I mean,
through your daughter's eyes,
yeah, and I mean, and as a man, you shouldn't have to think about your daughter or your spouse or your mother or your sister to be a decent human being, but sometimes it helps if you can, like, put yourself in
Sure.
thinking about things from their point of view. But it was interesting because like 6 or 7 months ago, my daughter told me about a kind of like a cyberbullying situation that she was aware of at her school, and she told me some things, and I kind of thought, well, like, let's make this a bit of a learning opportunity, and I told her, it's like, sort of, so this was what was going on with these people, and I can tell you about where this can go as an adult, of like, sort of, here was this situation where this man had access to these pictures that had been shared with him, and he was using them to blackmail a woman and make her do things that she didn't want to do. And in having that conversation with her and being able to tell her, like, yeah, and I chose to basically break up my band because I didn't want to be doing music with this person anymore. It felt really good that, I was able, that made it as if I'd never had any doubt that had been the right decision. But I mean, that would have confirmed it, that I don't have to, like, lie to my daughter, that I can tell her, it's like, yeah, this was something, this was a line that I was not willing to cross, of like, accepting or tolerating this type of behavior.
Well, no, that's amazing, and that's the right thing to do, and I agree with you 100%. And it's just like, when it really comes down to it, some things are more important than your hobby. Do you know what I mean? To the point where it's just like, yeah, I love what I do, but maybe this isn't the right thing to do. And like me and Sarah talked about, if you're ever in that situation and someone confronts you or something happens to you, talk to a friend, talk to someone you trust, talk to a family member, and don't keep it inside of you. No one's going to judge you. There's people out there that will help you, and you're not alone in it. So if it ever does happen, please come forward and talk to somebody.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, I mean, I really have to applaud the courage of the women, because it's usually women, who take that action and call people out and tell their stories. Although, at the same time, I understand, people who don't feel that they're able to do that. I mean, I'm in no position to judge anyone. I mean, like, basically, I am a 6-foot+ guy. Like, I don't know that. I haven't lived that reality. So, I mean, I'm not going to judge someone who says, you know what, I can't take that step. I can't go there. But I think I really hope for anyone who's in that situation that they can find their support systems and find a way of doing that.
So before we go on to what's happening next, which would be, I guess, the Limerick Babies, let's play one more 4-stroke song.
Sure. This
Next
one.
next record?
Yeah, so this is one we did with the lineup when we had Mike Trash on bass and still John Kiley on drums. I'm gonna go with Parking Lot City because I think that's a good lead in to something else.
All right, this is Parking Lot City. This is 4-Stroke, Eagle and Vice. So that was a Parking Lot City by 4-Stroke. So the next big venture, I guess, was the Limburg Babies. We're getting super close to the now.
Yeah, and sort of like as with 4-Stroke, Lindbergh Babies started while 4-Stroke was still going on. So basically, what happened there is that I don't know if do you guys practice? Where do you guys practice?
We jam at my friend Eric's house. He has a house in Blackburn Hamlet. I've been jamming in his basement for like 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are at Capital Rehearsal over at City Center, and we have a lockout room. So John Kiley, who used to drum for 4-Stroke and is in currently. He's in Lindbergh Babies. He is in Slow Tom and the Hanson Devils.
What's he doing, Slow Tom? Just so I can.
He drums.
Okay. Yep.
He plays guitar and sings in Thunder Uncle, and I think that's it for his current projects. I mean, at one point he was up to like about 7 bands, but he basically he was in about 6 or 7 bands when
Nuts.
Luke opened Capitol Rehearsal, and so Luke said to John, "It's like, well, you know what? Why don't I just rent you a room, and then you can organize things up with the bands you're in, because like obviously." The All Rights can't jam at the same time as Four Stroke because there's only one John. Right. So we figured like, okay, we're all sharing one John. We'll just all share one jam space. And so we basically have this room. And then I guess after we got the room going, every once in a while, we'd have like fun jams. So just whoever was free and whoever wanted to would just like show up, and, you'd play whatever instrument you want to play. I think I mentioned that I tried my hand at drums and realized that my skills had deteriorated a fair bit. But for a while there, a bunch of us were showing up pretty regularly, and I was playing bass, and Chris and John were
just hanging out, making noise, type of thing.
Just hanging out, making noise, and like people would bring some song ideas to it, and sort of like, hey, here's this cover I'd like to do, or like hey, let's play these riffs, and we're just like kind of screwing around, and then at one point, like basically John and Tara sort of sat down and they said like, we're gonna make this into a band. Yeah, so at that point we put it together, and it was Tara singing, John and Chris both playing guitar, me coming out of the closet and being the bass player, and this guy Dickie, who used to play drums for IMI, playing drums for us. And so we played our first show in, I think, 2014 at House of Targ. We played a couple shows with that lineup, and then Dickie had to move to Toronto. So we got Matt, who used to drum for the Sewer Rats. So my second bandmate, who had previously been in the Sewer Rats, he came in on drums for a while, and then we were kind of having scheduling problems. And at that point, John decided, okay, well, what, he'd move over to drums. I mean, I'd predominantly known him as a drummer anyhow, and so we played as a 4-piece for a little while. Until we got Greg, who, he's played in bands like going back to, I remember him in the Phantom Shifters in like 99 and 2000. I think he was in the Long Timers. He's currently in the Uncooperatives, 24 Hours to Go. And probably I'm selling him short. He's probably been in another half dozen bands, but he came in as a second guitar. And so that's been our lineup for the last, probably year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
What was it like going from guitar player, singer, kind of frontman, to bass player? Not saying that they have, well, they kind of do have different priorities in the band, right? Like, was it an easy transition to go from lead singer to bass player?
Well, so for me, and in particular, especially like when Lindbergh started, I still had 4-stroke going on, and so to me, it was actually really refreshing of that not only was I the bass player, which is, sort of a position where people are paying a bit less attention to you in a lot of cases, but also like I wrote one song for Lindbergh Babies, and it actually ended up getting rejected, and then I took it over to 4-stroke, and then ended up bringing it to Cultural Treason.
There you go.
But it's like, I don't in Lindbergh, I don't write. I'm not in charge. Like it's sort of like it's an aspect of my life where I'm a passenger. I sit in the back seat and other people drive the car, and I don't have a lot of aspects like that in my life. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of refreshing. It's like, you know what? I show up, I play my bass, I pack it up, I leave. I don't have like sort of a lot of responsibilities outside of that, and I really enjoy that.
I can totally relate to that, because I was in 3 bands up until about a month ago, or like a couple weeks ago actually. I was in Goat, and then me and my friend Steph have just like this acoustic thing we do, and I was in a band called Hearts and Minds, where I was just a guitar player. Had no responsibility as far as booking, promotion, marketing, writing songs, anything. I just showed up, like you said, opened my guitar case, played my guitar, shut my guitar case, went home. And it was like this kind of break, you know what I mean? From having all the weight on your shoulders. So I can completely relate to like your position there.
Yeah. So again, that's really where I was and am with that. And I mean, it's interesting because like promoters and people like often approach me first when they want to deal with Lindbergh Babies, and obviously I'm not going to say, oh, no, that's not my file. Like, you know, play the bureaucratic card. Like, you know, I'll do that. But at the same time, it's just, you know, it's nice to it's nice for that to not be like my primary responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so that was good. And then after Four Stroke broke up and Lindbergh was my only thing, that wasn't really enough for me because I do need to have like sort of my own vehicle and my own outlet.
Right.
So I definitely knew that I wanted to be doing something else. So interestingly enough, like I talked to you about how second guitar player in Four Stroke had always been our Spinal Tap drummer position. The last man in on that was Clayton, who I guess he'd been in a bunch of Ottawa bands dating back to the Nukes. He was in the Rookers for a long time, Outrigger, some other bands. So he was the last guitar player in Four Stroke, and he and I decided, you know what, like we'll get something going. Like we gave it a bit of a break. We took about 6 months off. Like, you know, let the dust settle over the summer, and then later that fall. So like probably fall of 2015, 2016. Jesus, I'm not sure. But we started jamming with. I guess it was fall of 2016. We started jamming with a couple of people and put together the band that would turn into Cultural Treason.
Awesome. Great segue, but we're going to listen to a Lindbergh Babies song now.
Oh, totally.
What do you want to hear?
I would have to say Walk Away.
All right. This is the Lindbergh Babies. This is a song called Walk Away. This is Ego and Vice.
It sounds maybe in this interview I'm giving a little bit short shrift to Lindbergh Babies. I think that if you want to talk Lindbergh Babies, you should really get Tara in here. or maybe even Tara and John, because like they're the minds behind that band. They're the ones who do the writing and stuff like that. I'm pretty much, notwithstanding the rest of my history, I'm pretty much a passenger in that car.
I would really love to have Tara in. And last time you and I played, the Limbrick Babies and Goat played with the Riptides
At the Dominion.
at the Dominion, which was a really fun show.
That was way fun, and it was like it was a great, like it was kind of like a reunion, because Tanya, who used to play in the Bella Bombs, who Four Stroke and the Bella Bombs used to play tons of shows together. Mm-hmm. She's the newest guitar player in the Riptide, so that was like way fun to see her back up on the stage. And
yeah, I noticed that when they played, they had like a fifth member up there, and I was like, "What's going on here?" She's not on my record cover, on my album cover. That's cool though. Good for her.
Yeah, I think that was actually her first show with them, but they've gone on.
She had a smile on her face that whole show. So she was having a great time.
Well, no, and I think because that's the first show that she's played since I guess after the Bella Bombs sort of went on hiatus, she was in Heat for a while, but In Heat is not my story to tell. I'm going to leave it at that.
Fair enough.
So anyhow, I guess I was mentioning earlier on that Clayton and I decided that we wanted to do something together after Four Stroke. So we ended up. I'd been bumping into Deirdre, who was the drummer from Raw Raw Riot. We'd bumped into each other here and there. Yeah. And so I talked to her and asked, like, hey, do you want to jam with me and Clayton? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, we need to dig up a bass player. She originally suggested one bass player. He came out and jammed a few times. That didn't quite work out, and so I asked my friend Karen, who she was actually the bass player that first sat in with Moral Hazard, although that didn't work out. She later on was the bass player of the Bella Bombs. But when I talked to her, she said, you know what, I'm not really feeling it right now, but my husband Motts might be interested. And so I got in touch with him. He was the bass player for a Swedish band called Psycho Punch. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're like a Swedish power pop band. They're pretty well known in Europe.
The only Swedish band I know is Goat.
Okay.
Didn't we talk about that?
The other goat.
Goat.
I think we talked about the other goat offline.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But yes.
Pay no attention to what I just said.
Anyhow, so Motts came in and started jamming with us, and we ended up deciding to call the band Cultural Treason. We actually kind of confused Motts a little bit, because I decided to throw all kinds of creative umlauts and various other accents, and he's like, I'm Swedish, like we actually use this in our language, why are you throwing this stuff into English words? And I was like, it's okay, Mats, just deal with it. So we jammed for a while. We played, we opened up for DOA last fall. That was our first show. It went really well. And then shortly after that, we recorded a bunch of songs, a demo. I think I think I brought some of that here. I think there's a couple of songs that are somewhat listenable. We went on kind of hiatus after that because Dee Dee has been off in Europe. And so while she's been in Europe, I've actually been doing this other project. But she's actually just gotten back to Ottawa, so we're going to be looking at jamming up and getting ready to play some more stuff pretty soon, and then also finishing off that demo and trying to put it up online for the listening public and whatsoever.
That's rad. I can't wait to hear it all.
Cool.
And we should before we play this next song, I think we're kind of wrapping up your crazy, really busy life of music.
Oh, there's one more thing.
Okay,
there's one more thing, but it sounded like you wanted to go somewhere, or
no, please.
No, okay. So I guess I was just gonna say like the last thing, and this is sort of what's kept me busy while CT's been on treason. Well, CT's been on.
hiatus.
Well, CT's been on hiatus
There
for
it
the
is.
past few months. Is I don't know. Have you participated much in the punk rock cover nights that Scott Jeff sets up at Targ?
I contacted Yogi, oh God, it must have been about 4 months ago, and I said, I really want to play the punk rock cover night. And he's like, yeah, you have to talk to Scott Jeff about that. And he sent me a link, and I contacted Scott Jeff, and I said, I love this band called Off With Their Heads. They're out of Chicago. And I said, if you're ever looking for a band, Goat's like good to go. And he's like, I totally want to do that, but my next kind of like focus is like 90s night and like rock night or something like that. I already have them set. And I said, well, keep us in mind for the next one. But please proceed.
Yeah. No, so I set out the first several of these, but probably about 5-6 years ago, actually some friends of mine were doing a Teenage Head night, or Teenage Head set for cover night, and the original singer for that ended up bailing. So I was like, oh, hey, I can sing Teenage Head. So since then, like with various bits and pieces of bands that I've been in, I've probably done like 5 or 6 of them. I think did Teenage Head, Dead Boys, Dead Kennedys, Bad Posture, Vancouver Subhumans, but this time around, I'm doing one that's probably more meaningful to me than any of the ones that I've done before, and part of it is because the band that I'm doing right now is my all-time favorite band, which is Personality Crisis, which is a band that like nobody knows. They're this obscure punk band from Winnipeg. They were active from like 1979 to 1984. Incredible band. You just have to trust me on that.
Okay. But
But the other thing that's really sort of key for me on doing this project is the people I'm doing it with. So it's a 5-piece band, and the 4 people I'm doing it with. One is Chris, who he's my current bandmate in Lindbergh Babies. He was with me for almost the whole time of 4-Stroke, with me for almost the entire time of Moral Hazard. Like, we have about 20 years together, if you add up the various bands and the overlaps. The second guitar player on it is Josh, who was in 4-Stroke up till about 2014. So this is going to be our first time playing together for about 4 years, and that's going to be kind of neat. The third person is the drummer, Dave Fott. So he was the drummer in Moral Hazard. We have not played a show together since 2005.
Damn.
So this is going to be 13 years.
That's awesome. Man.
And just like when we've been jamming that out, it's been like a day hasn't passed. And then the bass player for the band is actually the wife of my Cultural Treason bass player, Karen. So we last played on stage together in our band Snatch Bandits in Vancouver in 1998. So it's going to be 20 years since we last played together.
Wow, that sounds like it's like a family reunion.
Pretty much. So this is going to be an awesome time, and I think other bands that are on that, there's some of the people from No Fuss that are doing a No Means No set. There are some friends of ours from various bands covering the Avengers from San Francisco. A couple other bands whose names don't occur to me right now, but it's gonna be a way fun night. Yeah, so that's happening March 9th at House of Targ, and the proceeds, because whenever the cover nights are going on, like the bands don't get paid because it's we didn't write the song, so why the hell should we get any money? The money's going to safety, support, and education for trans youth. It's a local charity for trans youth. I don't know anything more about it, but I'm happy to support the cause.
That's the cover night at House of Targ.
Yeah.
I think we should play a Cultural Treason song.
Yeah. I'd say probably the one I'd pick here would be Lying to Yourself Again.
This is Lying to Yourself Again. This is Cultural Treason. This is Ego and Vice.
It's a little bit easier when the
Okay, that was Cultural Treason. That song was called Lying to Yourself Again. I have a rapid question period that I ask every guest that comes on Ego and Vice. Are you up for that?
I'm going to say yes.
All right, let's do it.
Questions and answers, honesty lies. Yes, no, you can't, but you can if you know why.
Shit, you must be fuckered, man. Like, what's he talking about? Any questions?
Okay, this is rapid questions. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. What is your biggest musical influence?
Personality crisis.
All right. First record you ever bought with your own money?
If we count cassettes, I'm going to say AC/DC Back in Black.
What was the last song you listened to?
Last song I listened to was... Last song I listened to was Screw Society by The Ugly.
Nice. Didn't we just listen to that together?
Yes.
Oh, fuck's sakes. All right.
So you already knew the answer.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite song?
Favorite song is Awakened in Fields by Personality Crisis.
All right. Favorite band?
Personality Crisis.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What was your first concert or show?
First show was Big Country at Massey Hall in Toronto in 1983.
Okay. What was the last show you saw?
Last show I saw was Gutter Demons, and the support acts for that, there was this band from Sweden. I think their name was Sheep.
Sheep.
No,
yeah.
no. It was Goat.
I love Sheep. They're awesome.
Are you sure that you want to admit that you will love Sheep on air?
Well, you know, it's just went in quiet times. All right.
Okay.
What was the best show you ever saw?
Okay, and now I know I'm sounding like a one-note symphony, but last year, Personality Crisis did their one and only reunion after breaking up in 1984, and I flew out to Winnipeg to see them, and that was the best show I've ever seen.
Awesome.
Second best was Nation of Ulysses in Vancouver in 1991.
Okay.
Just to not have everything revolving around Personality Crisis.
Okay. Tell us a funny show story from your own bands.
Okay. So one time Four Stroke was playing Punk Fest that Spider was putting on out in sort of Marmora, Madoc area, and we went and we were playing. At that point, the stage was down at the very bottom of a hill, and we were setting up, and we'd been talking with some various bands that were going there in terms of doing gear share, and we had originally intended not to bring a bass amp, but then we weren't like quite sure. The one band who'd said they'd bring a bass amp, we weren't quite sure they were going to do it, so we're like, okay, we're going to bring it, fine. We showed up, and it was a good thing because we were the only band to bring a bass amp. So basically, and the bass amp that our bass player Steve Rowe had, it was this like old 60s Trainer. It was this like beautiful thing, and sort of like, we played our set and other people played, and then like, all night we're like sitting watching like 12 or 14 different bands playing, and they're all playing on his amp, and we were sort of likening it to like, he's sitting there watching his wife be gangbanged or something like that.
God damn.
And finally at the end of the night, all the bands that were playing that night ended, and someone else carried the head up the hill, but then like Steve went and he picked up his cabinet and lifted it up on his shoulder like the world's biggest ghetto blaster, and basically like walked up the hill one-handed carrying this massive cabinet up the hill, and that was pretty hilarious.
Okay. Tell us an awful show story.
Do I want to?
I want you to.
Trying to think. There haven't really been that many really awful shows. So I'll tell another funny one.
Okay.
So the last show I ever played in Vancouver, I was in this band called Snatch Bandits, and we were playing this bar called the Cobalt, which the whole time I'd lived in Vancouver, it had been like a really kind of low-end, sleazy strip bar. And then probably a couple months before I left, it sort of basically went through the life cycle of bars. Like, you find that things go from one thing to another. So it became a punk rock venue. When we were playing, they'd basically they'd taken Pervert's Row and turned that into the stage, but the actual stage was still there with all the poles and all the accoutrements. So we were playing the show. And, between songs, people, like, shower.
Oh, God.
Everyone being super original.
That's rad.
And then at one point, between songs, people were like, shower. I was like, yeah, whatever. If I break a string, I'll take a shower. So what happens next song?
You broke a string.
I broke a string. So I basically handed my guitar off to the drummer, and the drummer changed the string, and I went and got into the shower, and I had a shower.
Oh, no.
And the thing is, you know what? Like, people need to give respect for people who who work in that industry. That water is cold. I mean, I was ready to cut glass, and I'm a dude.
Oh, geez.
So the next time that you're down there and you're yelling out shower to the girls on the stage, just remember they're suffering for you, and try to be a little bit free with the 5s and 10s.
Fair enough. All right, I got 2 more questions for you. What is your guilty pleasure music?
I'm going to say Metric.
Metric? Okay. Well, that's pretty good. And your very last rapid question for this podcast, my sir, is you were stranded on a desert island and you had one record before the buzzards pecked your eyes out. What record would that be?
I know you're expecting a personality crisis answer.
I was, actually. I thought you were going to blast out with it, yeah. But.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a really long record. No, but I think I'd probably have to go with Raw Power.
Raw Power. Okay, so that was rapid questions, and you're done. You got through it.
Somewhat rapid answers. Not all the answers are that rapid.
Nah, you got through it. Well, rapid to the point. I don't mind a little bit of elaboration, and you did that, and I think we covered everything. So, Ken, it was awesome to have you on the show.
It was awesome to be on the show.
I think we covered.
Much, Mike.
I think we covered pretty much all your history. Well, as much as we could in the 2 hours that we did. This is going to be a 2-part episode. I guess this is the end of part 2. So this is technically Ego and Vice episode 18.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward.
Episode 18 on 2018.
That's it. I'm looking forward to future stuff. I hope we get to play together soon.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Cultural Treason, we're getting back going. So probably do something together this spring, maybe.
All right, let's do that. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming in. And shit, man, I will see you down the road.
Sounds good. And for those of you who stuck it out this long, thanks for listening to me drone on and on.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.
Cheers. Heyo. Yeah,
that was the end of episode 18 of Ego and Vice. That was part 2 of my interview with Ken Ketchum, a local musician. He has been in... it was good, right? I thought it was good. Anyway. He's been in some really influential punk bands here in Ottawa. He's played with some really influential people over the years, and the story he told was super interesting. I had a great time, and hope to do it again sometime. So, hey, Ken, I will see you down the road, sir. Thank you very much. If you want to get a hold of me, you can contact me through egoandvice@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, you want to be on the show, you want me to play your music on the show, or even if you want to come into Southwood Studios, sit down with me, have a beer, and we can make an episode all about you. Hey, what the fuck? You can also check out the website at egoandvice.com. All the podcasts are listed there. We got pics from all the podcasts with the people in it and whatnot. So very, very cool. I don't have that much else to say, so I think I'm going to call it a podcast. Cool. So we will see you next week, and the only advice I can give you is stay golden. We'll see you later.
You've got a real attitude problem, McFly. You're a slacker.